So Ohara Davies has signed a promotional deal with Frank Warren. He's parted ways with his longtime promoter Eddie Hearn. Interesting choice by Ohara Davies. I guess a lot of people are going to say it was the obvious choice because Frank Warren is the #2 in the United Kingdom at the moment in terms of promoters and how big they are in the game of boxing at the moment. So people are going to say, well, it's the obvious thing. If you can't get along with Hearn, you got to go to Warren. The other options are not really very viable. I think it depends how big you want to think. But Ohara Davies is now with MTK Global, so he signed a management deal with them first. And I wonder how much of an influence they were with him signing with Frank Warren. Maybe there weren't any influence at all. Maybe it was just all down to Ohara. But yeah, he has signed with Frank Warren, BT Sport, Box Nation, etc. So I wonder how much influence MTK were on that decision. Is it the best move for Ohara? I guess time will tell. You know, and when I say it depends how big you're thinking in terms of where you want to go promotionally. I mean, if you believe yourself to be a big enough entity, you could go with a smaller outfit like a Haymaker and make yourself a big fish in a small pond. Going to Frank Warren, Warren has many other fighters. And I know his pond is not as big as Eddie Hearn's pond currently, but it's still a pretty big pond. So Ohara Davies won't exactly be the biggest star in that pond. He won't be the biggest fish. Whereas if he'd gone with Haymaker, as I say, he would have been more of a standout in Haymaker stable because Haymaker stable's not that big. But still, I don't know the business side of it. I don't know the contracts that Ohara Davies has seen. I don't know the offers that he's been made. So I can't sit here and tell you that he's made the wrong decision or going with a different promoter would have been better. I don't know because I'm not privy to the things that Ohara's seen and heard. So, this is just speculation as an outsider looking in. And I'm going to try and interview Ohara in the coming weeks again. And maybe he can answer some of these questions. I know a lot of them are questions that most boxers wouldn't answer, but we'll see what Ohara says. So yeah, his first fight with Frank Warren is going to be on April 14th. That's at the O2 show in April. So yeah, that'll be his Box Nation debut. We'll see how he does with Frank Warren. In terms of him parting ways with Eddie Hearn, it seemed to all hinge, and I know this seems bizarre, but it seemed to all hinge on Ohara Davies's use of social media. Hearn basically wanted Ohara to come off social media altogether, and Ohara was unwilling to do that. Ohara, when I interviewed him, said he was going to change the way he behaves in general, not just on social media, but in general, he was going to change the way he behaves. But that weren't enough, apparently, for Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn wanted him to go a step further and remove himself from social media altogether. And that's where they couldn't agree. And I guess that's why they've decided to go their separate ways. It seems something very minor, I'm surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised that Eddie Hearn would fall out with somebody over something so minor. But there you go. Thankfully, this hasn't resulted in any kind of legal action between Eddie Hearn and Ohara Davies. And that's something, as I say, that I've noticed with Eddie Hearn is that when he parts ways with fighters, it normally don't end up in court. Now, there could be gagging orders. There could be fighters who have had legal problems with Eddie Hearn and they're just not allowed to talk about it. But generally, these things do get leaked to the press, so... But as far as I'm aware, Hearn is not somebody that gets involved in big legal battles with fighters or former fighters. And that to me is a good sign because you can't say the same for a lot of other promoters, especially Frank Warren. That's one of my big critiques of Frank Warren over the years is his attitude. The fact that he always wants to, not always, but a lot of the time, on many, many occasions wants to pursue legal action against his former fighters. That just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, you know? So anyway, hopefully this is the best move for Ohara Davies. He's with his friend. I wonder how much his friend Anthony Yard had an influence on Ohara signing with Matchroom. Signing with Frank Warren and Box Nation. Because as I say, Ohara is very close with Anthony Yard, and Yard is one of the stars on Box Nation now. So I guess he'll be fighting alongside his friend. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about this news. Is it a good move for Ohara? Is it a good move for Frank Warren? You know, Warren's got quite a few fighters now in the light welterweight division. Terry Flanagan's just moved up to that weight class. So yeah, let me know how you feel, people. It's happening. I'm out.